Welcome to this week's edition of the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, head cross-country coach Dan Meyers. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Jagger, thanks for having me.
All right, Coach, how do you feel your team practiced this past week following the first meet of the season?
Amazing. I told the team this week that, especially coming off a hard Thursday meet, they had a hard weekend of mileage to kind of catch up some lost mileage from kind of prepping for the first meet, and to come out the way they did on Tuesday morning at the golf course and Friday at the track, we're just keeping this thing rolling. So it's awesome that, they didn't get off a super high off the meet and come down low in training this past week. It was probably one of our best training weeks, which is saying something because I've pretty much said that about every week that we've had so far. But super impressed with the group. I love where our depth's at a time like this, especially compared to years past. But the group's working hard, and they know that we have a target on our back, and we're ready to race some good competition this weekend.
And do you like these kind of bigger gaps in meets? Because it's a 16-day gap between both the two meets that you're going to be running.
Yeah, so we're actually racing one less time than we did last year, and that's kind of why there was a gap between meet one and meet two. And we'll race back-to-back weekends, have a weekend off, we'll race, then have 2 weeks off till conference. And I think a majority of the teams in the league are just racing 4 to 5 regular season meets, so that's pretty common. I think there's even a few of the top teams in the conference that may be even racing one less than us. So, in college, it's a lot different for some of these freshmen because just due to the fact that, they're used to racing Wednesday and Saturday almost every week. And if not during the week, they're racing at least every other weekend. So it's definitely an adjustment, but it's just a huge focus on the training and kind of training through September and making sure that we're ready to go for championship season.
And you had that gap week, and now you get ready for Youngstown State. Just your expectations out of the squad this coming weekend.
So I'm pretty excited before the women jump to a 6K that we get another 5K opportunity, especially with a morning race, hopefully some cooler temperatures. And then this course, there's a lot of pictures online at the Mill Creek Metro Parks in Youngstown that it's going to be a fast course. So it's got a little bit of everything. It's got some awesome grass loops. It's got some crushed limestone. There's some wood chipped trails that they'll run through. But overall, it kind of gives me sort of vibes from Lock Haven, which we'll see the next week. But I'm excited for the girls to have another opportunity at 5K. I know that we're definitely going to shake up some of the top 5, top 7 performances of all time pretty quickly with this meet coming up. And then the men racing their first 8K, and I think they're ready. They've done a lot of volume to kind of prep for, especially these freshmen, their first ever opportunity to run an 8K. But it's going to be, hopefully it's going to be a pretty big meet. I don't have the exact number of teams that we're going to race right now, but the Youngstown course is set up for Division I specs for, a regional or national meet. So they want this to be a big time course, and I'm excited that we're going to be the first collegiate group to run on it.
And do you feel, because the expectation is this is going to be a much bigger meet than where you're at West Liberty, do you feel these bigger meets kind of help push your team and can possibly create some more PRs out of them?
Yeah, I definitely think that. And I think some of the excitement, just right off the gun, they're going to see some girls and guys that are going to go out for a really fast first mile. And I think it's kind of a great learning experience for them, especially on a flatter course. Just how to race and how to, still kind of hang on to some conference people that will be in the race as well between the next 2 weekends. But honestly, I think the biggest thing is just them understanding that, conference will probably have a similar amount of runners that our first meet did. But this meet will be a little bit, and Lock Haven will be a little bit more towards, the amount of runners that we're going to have in our regional meet. And scoring is completely shaken up depending on how your top 5 is. If our 2 top girls race the way they did last time, we could size up a school by simply having 40 or 50 runners between their next one. So for them to understand that the difference in the scoring of a meet between a small meet and a big meet, we'll kind of really see where some things kind of shake out.
And lastly, how, is there any struggles with adjusting your runners? When you do a 5K, then you do a 6K, now you're preparing for an 8K. Is there any struggles with that?
I think the girls are a little intimidated to bump up to a 6K, and that's just pretty normal. But we do the volume in the workouts that will make sure they're fit enough to race at that level. And personally, between our top 7 girls right now, there's a lot of battles between our 4, our 5, our 6, or 7, and in our top 3. And honestly, like I said, they're doing the volume to prepare for it, and I don't see any big drop offs there. Now, the guys, on the other hand, we race 6K right off the bat. It is a little worrisome sometimes just because our top 5 guys have never raced an 8K. And I do think our top 5 will be shaken up a little bit in weeks forward, but we're doing the volume in the workouts to prepare them for it, and a lot of them are doing, more miles than they've ever done in their life. And I think from some of the workouts that we've had in the last 10 to 14 days that it's trending that they're going to have a great opener in those events.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head volleyball coach Kiara Perkins. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Coach. First thing, you started out the week last week with a thrilling win over WV Tech, went 5 sets. Just your initial thoughts on that game.
It was definitely a very exciting game. Very thankful for the crowd and stuff that we had. Just seeing how everyone got into the game, especially on that 5th set. I think that game, it really showed our ability to push back and stuff. Winning the 1st set, and then our biggest thing is we have to keep that same momentum, no matter if it's the first or the last set.
Yeah.
That's going to be our biggest thing this season. But overall, we had some key players and even new ones really make an impact, not just for themselves, but for the team. And I think that is the good momentum that we needed for the beginning.
And then you moved on to the weekend. You went all the way up to Michigan for the Grand Rapids Downtown Classic. Your overall thoughts, reaction from that weekend tournament.
Overall, it was definitely a great competition to play against. Our biggest thing at the beginning of the season is we want to push ourselves so we know what we still have to work on, what things are working for us. But really, our big thing for this season is overcoming adversity. And I think that this weekend, with this tournament and even the tournament that we had the previous weekend, I think those are the games and stuff that we will be keeping in mind as we go on with the season.
And what kind of struggles do you feel that you guys faced during the tournament? Because those were 4 very good squads that you faced. Just the kind of struggles that you had there.
I would say our biggest struggles, and we talked about it before, is minimizing our errors and the stuff that we do on our own side of the court. Really, before we can focus on what other teams are doing, we have to determine what we need to do on our own side to help us going on in our next games and really even being there in that moment. And I think that's the biggest thing that we talked about even at the very beginning when we have our team meetings and stuff. Like, we talk about what we need to do as a team, like the characteristics and stuff that each individual has to have coming in. And because, we talk about the history and stuff of this program and how we want to change that. And, this needs to be, an impact year because we know we have the pieces to do it. Now it's just getting those pieces and applying what we talk about every time.
And, you talk about change the script from the program. You started out 1-8, but even with the losses, do you feel that, these opening tournaments will still help your team in the long run?
Yes, I definitely do think that these tough games and these tough teams that we've played against, one, it's showing them that they can be competitive. A lot of those sets and stuff, they were really close.
Yeah.
But now it's just not waving up and down. It's staying at a steady compact. So.
And then now you not moving into the conference schedule, but you're about to. You start out with Salem, which is still a non-conference game on Tuesday. Just kind of previewing that matchup. How do you feel about that on tomorrow, actually?
I feel pretty good. After this past weekend, we know what we still need to work on, and now it's just going to be applying those. And, of course, every team that we go against, we know we can't take lightly because ultimately everyone wants to do the same thing. Every team wants to win, but at the end of the day, it's going to be who wants it more.
And you've had 2 tournaments early on that you played 4 games in 2 days. Then this past weekend you played 4 in 3. Now after you play Salem on Tuesday, you'll have 10 days off. Do you feel that stretch is a good thing of just having no games and just full practice? Do you like that?
I definitely think this year the season is a little bit more unique because we didn't have this long of a break last year.
Yeah.
But I do think that this is a good break for us, especially with how our games have been more so back to back since we started. It's really going to give us the time to hound on the stuff that we need to focus on and be disciplined with before conference really starts. So,
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this week.
thank you.
Welcome back to the Pioneer Coaches Show. With me now, I have head women's soccer coach J.R. Dodson. Coach, thanks for being here today.
Thanks a lot, Jagger. Always great to be here.
All right, Coach. First off, you started last week with a 1-0 victory over Roberts Wesleyan. It was a game you were outshot. How'd you feel about that game?
Honestly, just glad to get out of there with a win. We were on a grass field that was pretty rough, and the girls, it took them probably 20, 30 minutes to adjust to that, and it was a battle, and so it showed a lot of grit for our team to hold on and get that win.
And you mentioned that because you got outshot. They had 7 more corner kicks. I think you guys only had 1. And you talk about the grass field rather than the turf you usually play on. What's that kind of show from your girls that they're still able to pull out a win even with those circumstances?
I think it boils down to grit. I mean, they want to win. They want to fight, and they were determined to get through that. So it was. I can't say that was the most fun game to watch, but it was a good battle and the testament that it showed from our kids.
And then you capped off the week last night against West Virginia State, opening up conference play. You lost 2-0. It was pretty evenly matched up, I thought. Just watching the game. Your thoughts on that game?
Big thoughts on that game for me is I'm excited with what I've seen out of our kids in the second half. The first half, I think we came out nervous. We got a lot of young players on that team. We had 5 freshmen that played a lot of minutes in that game. I think there's 3 sophomores, only 2 seniors. So we're a young team that's going to grow quick because we have a lot of talent. So the way they played that second half, if they would have played that the full 90 minutes like that, I think could have been a different game. So I'm excited. I think we're in a good place. And I think it's going to be. I'm looking forward to this coming week.
And you talk about this coming week. You host D&E on Wednesday night. What do you expect out of your girls coming off a loss like you did last night?
I can tell already. We haven't even been 24 hours, and I can tell these girls are ready to get back at it. I mean, that's what's exciting. They want to win. The goalkeeper Lucia was just in the office just a little bit ago. She said, "Coach, I don't like to lose. I don't want to lose anymore." Yeah. So, and she comes from a high-level club in Spain, and she didn't lose there, and she doesn't want to lose here at Glenville. So our kids are already on the right track.
And then lastly, you'll travel to Charleston on Sunday. They were picked to win the Southern Division after winning the league last year, made the NCAA tournament. How do you feel your girls match up with Charleston?
I think we're going to win that game, Jagger. I think it's going to be a tight battle, good game, but I think our girls are – I think that first conference game, they felt a lot of pressure. And I think that pressure is gone now, and I think we're going to be able to open up and play now.
Do you think that loss kind of helps them open up a little bit more, like you mentioned? Do you think that
100%.
helps a lot? Yep.
I think it takes the pressure off. Where I think they've been feeling a lot of pressure. I don't know where that comes from, but they've put it self-imposed. So, we preach every day that every game's so important. Because if you don't win conference, you're looking for one of those at-large bids. So every game's important. But I do think that's going to let them relax a little bit. But they also know that they have to work if they want to be successful in this conference.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming on today, and good luck this coming week.
All right. Thank you, Jagger.